What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Now. I'm Alex, and in this video, I want to talk about if the Texas Chainsaw Massacre can be better than Dead by Daylight. So when I say better than, it really, I think, combines quite a few different things. You know, just because Dead by Daylight is, say, the most played of this genre of games doesn't necessarily mean it's the best in terms of quality. So I do understand that, and I want to kind of get that out of the way in the video early. But there's no denying the impact that Dead by Daylight has had. There's no denying the comparisons that when other games come out, you compare it to Dead by Daylight, and it really is kind of that gold standard of general quality, constant updates, a player base that has stayed very, very powerfully, right? There's a lot of people still playing Dead by Daylight, and not only in its genre when you compare it to the Predator Hunting Grounds of the world or Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed, but also just in the leaderboards of when you see these big multiplayer games that are still being played every single day. Dead by Daylight is definitely up there, and I think it deserves a lot of credit. So jumping to Texas Chainsaw, can it match it? Well, I will say that's extremely tough. I made a video similar to this a few years back talking about Predator Hunting Grounds versus Dead by Daylight, and it's very clear that Predator Hunting Grounds didn't stand a chance. At least, you know, hindsight's 2020, okay? But looking at Texas Chainsaw, I think it's got the quality that where it can absolutely match it. That's something that I'm noticing when I'm reading comments of other people's videos, comments of you guys when you comment on my stuff. I do feel like the quality of Texas Chainsaw is there, and people were impressed by the technical test. So the question is, well, obviously, can they put it all together for the base game? I feel like that's going to be yes. I think the tech test, one of the best things that it probably did was being so close to completion that when you're playing it, you're saying, okay, well, I'm playing a pretty up-to-date version of the game. This is exactly kind of what I can expect to see of the game. Plus new maps, obviously, right? New victims, new killers, all that stuff. But the quality of the game, the amount of fun that people were having with the game, that was shown off immediately, and that really, I don't think, is going to change between the tech test and the actual release. Another thing to kind of throw in there is Friday the 13th. I think Friday the 13th, for at least its initial launch, probably did take Dead by Daylight to task. That game was massively played. That game blew up so many people online, Let's Players, and just the amount of fun that you could have with that game. I think you can also see that with Dead by Daylight. There's just a certain amount of fun that immediately comes with the game. But what's really going to, I think, make or break this game is two different situations. Number one would be post-launch content. So again, this is something we've talked about that they couldn't really do for Friday the 13th, but they absolutely should be able to do for a game like this. There should be constant updates in terms of cosmetics, and then also obviously you have the maps and everything else after that. The second thing is going to be how much does that communication potential, I guess, problem come into play. And what I mean by that is this is a game that really does rely on people talking to each other. I think that's something that Dead by Daylight largely has skirted around. I don't think you have to talk to people in Dead by Daylight. I don't think that's kind of a requirement upon an average Joe, an average user jumping into that game and playing it. I don't think that's something that's kind of expected of them. It might actually be more expected of a game like a Friday the 13th versus Dead by Daylight. And look, ultimately, that communication, the fact that I do think Texas Chainsaw is many, many times harder than Dead by Daylight on both sides. Once players kind of know what they're doing from the killer's point of view and from the victim point of view, I think this is going to be an extremely skilled game where everybody's going to have to be doing their job, where everybody's going to have to be talking and communicating. I like that. I think it makes the game stick out, and I think that's going to kind of be its own thing, own unique thing going forward. The issue is that going to be too off-putting to people that kind of jump in after? On the other hand, let's throw one really big positive out, is it's going to have Game Pass. And that is a huge positive and should massively help the game. The fact that, now look, obviously the amount of Game Pass users there are versus the amount of people that play these games, obviously it's a much, much smaller number, but word of mouth carries, and online things like videos that kind of pop off, right? These YouTubers that kind of pop off, these Twitch streamers, Kick streamers, that stuff can carry. And when you see a really fun gameplay video, a really fun live stream, and then you find out that there's an ecosystem where the game is free to play, and you could just, you know, if you have Game Pass, you just get it. I think that can massively help the game. I think what this game needs to do is this. It needs to come out, obviously come out in a very solid, like, running condition. It needs to pick up where it left off with the tech test, but kind of on a larger scale, right? A lot of people saw that tech test and were at least interested in the game. So when the game comes out, if there still is that interest, which I imagine there will be, so many people are playing it, And if you can make a splash day one, week one, that's the first part of it, right? You need a good amount of people playing it the first week, and then you kind of let, again, the word of mouth, the fun Let's Plays, the fun not even really walkthroughs, but I guess live streams in general, you let that stuff kind of carry the game, and then they carry it by providing constant updates. Look, Dead by Daylight, the reason why it's such like a fascinating case study is because at its core, the game is extremely simple. If you knock out all of the updates that they've done, the community, all of that stuff, okay? What you're left with is just a very simple game in what the killers are trying to do and what the survivors are trying to do. It's very simple. Texas Chainsaw, I do think is a little bit more complicated, but it does have that general feel where, okay, strip it all down. You have a general idea of what to do with these people. You have a general idea what to do with those people. There are a lot of similarities between, Dead by Daylight early on and this game early on. The rest of it is about word of mouth, community, them constantly updating the game. I think it stands a chance. I think Game Pass is a really, really big thing. And look, at the end of the day, and I hope this isn't going to be like twisted, my words twisted, I don't need this game to be better than Dead by Daylight, or I don't need this game to have more players. I mean, look, I'm a consumer. I play games that are fun or look fun to me. If this game is good, which I imagine it will be, I mean, I'm getting the game day one. I'll play it as long as I still think the game is fun. These outside kind of opinions aren't going to change my mind, but I thought it would be an interesting topic. So let me know what you guys think in the comments. Make sure, as always, you're subscribed, bell icon turned on, and I hope to see you all on the next one.